Okay, so in this exercise, we go through two-way tables. We've done the one-way table, so we're now doing two-way tables. So let's load in the data set as usual. And I'll just show you what's in the data set. So again, like most of these data sets, they're just simple purchase data sets. And here we kind of have like this is from a promotion campaign where we're sending emails out to potential customers, and based on the promotion, the customer can either purchase yes or not purchase no. And then we have some basic demographic information about the customer, which is the region they live in. So we split the US into different regions. So we've just kind of seen the data. Let's just see what variables we have. So we have the email, which is a number, and then we have two characters. We could turn them into factors, but we'll just stick with characters for the moment. Okay, so we can use the table command. And for a two-way table, for the one-way table, we would like pass it one variable. So we do something like this. And you can see the number of customers by each of these locations. But if we pass another variable, let's just run this. You can see that we've passed by location and purchase. So we have what we call a two-way contingency table, where we have the count for each combination of region and purchase. And the idea, we could look at the purchase behavior. So we can see that in the Midwest, more people said no than yes, but in the Northeast, almost 3 times as many people said yes as no. And in the South, nearly everybody, vast majority replied yes. So we'd want to look what's going wrong in the Midwest from this information. And we could do it the other way around. We don't have to have a specific direction. So if we put purchase first, then this time we'd get the purchases on the rows and we get the locations on the columns. So kind of rows, columns. And as before, we had table, we have prop.table. Okay, so we can do the prop.table command as we did with the one-way table, which will convert everything into proportion. You see here. And you can see everything will add up to 1. So you'll see the Midwest, like 17.8% of the customers were no in Midwest. And 21 and 2/3 of the customers were sat in the South and yes. Now let's actually recreate the tables with the other way around, with the purchases in the rows and the locations in the columns. We're going to call it my new table. And you can actually pass the bar plot function a two-way table. The colors are going to be, you give it a set of colors, which is going to be for each of the rows. And we're also, I'll tell you what the legend is in a minute, but we're setting the legend to be the row names. We're setting the labels, and we're setting this little parameter here is just the limits, the Y limits, which we're setting explicitly. So we're just saying between 0 and 200 here. Now what this does is for each location, it gives us the overall total, and it kind of gives us an idea of what proportions are no and which proportions are yes. So this is kind of a stacked bar plot. Now I've created another stacked bar plot. Again, I've done my own code with ggplot. So this time we have the x's. So if you just think of the ggplot, we pass the data, the original data. And my x variable on the x is the location. And I'm going to make the fill color whether we purchase a no or yes. I'm going to set position stack, which gives me the stacked bar chart in the geom bar. And I'm going to do count. I'm just going to count how many items are purchases in each location. And again, we do similar things in that we give a Y label as a count, and we give the title. We make it black and white. Something new which we haven't done before. We could actually, if we didn't have this, it would just assign base colors, but we set scale fill manual. Now there's lots of different color things with ggplot. For this time, we're just this matches with the fill the kind of the fill command. And manual means we actually explicitly say we're going to make red. We give the list of the colors, so we have the values as red and blue. And as before, we want to make our title in the center. So let's just do the ggplot. And it's pretty much the same graph. We've got the no purchases and the yes purchases. We've made them blue and red. Now I can make one minor change for it. Instead of the position stack, I'm going to have position equals dodge. And this time you see for each location, we can compare the yeses and the no's. So this is actually quite nice because it can say, hey, we can almost look at the ratio. So we can say Midwest, there's more no's than yeses. But the South, there's nearly all yeses and very few no's. So we can begin to look at the relative ratios and begin to think a little bit about the relationships between the variables using the kind of this second type of graph. So I just did a couple with ggplot. Again, ggplot, the language is quite complicated. So for at least the first half of this course, it'd really just be a case of you copying my code and just making minor corrections if you want to do some ggplot graphs. Okay, and that's it. We've created some two-way tables, and then we've done some graphs based on those two-way tables, and also some ggplot variants of graphs.